How many months have you been pregnant? How is your relation with your in laws? Who cooks and cleans in your home? Kindly give a detailed answer. Why did you decide to be a therapist? Why don't you care when some men call you the R word and give you death threats? Hey girls, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's going to be a Q&A and it's completely unscripted. I'm going to look at the questions and answer them naturally with no script. I also thought that I'll move around while answering the questions to keep it interesting, even though the questions are also quite interesting. So hopefully this video will be interesting. In case you don't know me, hi, I'm Divya Bhasin, a content creator and a therapist. So let's get into it. First of all, I'd like to thank all the members of my channel who've been supporting me. Thank you. You've been great. So the first question is, what are your opinions on people who are lesbian, gay, and stuff like that? Do you support them? Um, just kidding. Of course, I support them. There's nothing wrong with being homosexual or not following the norm. I think gender and sexuality are on a spectrum, and I don't like putting people in boxes, so I support people belonging to all sexualities and genders. Next question is, when did you start hating men, or are you hate males? I don't hate men, and I think it's really frustrating that people keep assuming that feminists hate men. The conversation isn't about men. It doesn't matter if women hate men or not, because if they hate them, it's because they're their oppressors. If they're not hating them, it's actually a big deal, because why would you not hate the people who are oppressing you? That said, of course, I don't hate all men because my husband is a man and my father is a man. The type of men I hate are the ones who write not all men, the ones who stay quiet when other men are hurting women, the ones who sexualize and objectify women, and the ones who invalidate the struggles of women. If you're not one of them, then I don't hate you, but if you are, you will get offended by me. And this is the last time I'll be giving an explanation about this, because my channel is not about whether or not I hate men. It's about the things that women go through, and it's about mental health. Okay? I am done with this question. Okay, bye. How was the relationship between you and your father? What would you advise a girl if her dad is abusive? My relationship with my father is very nice. He was quite an active parent while growing up. I think he was more active and involved than most Indian fathers. And no, he did not abuse me. Nor do I hate him. In fact, I love him. I am privileged to have a father who supports everything that I do as his daughter. For example, when I was caught in a controversy on the internet, he did not hate on me, he hated on the people who were troubling me. So that is the right way to go about it as a father. Just letting you know in case any potential fathers are watching this. And in case your father is abusive, I'm really sorry that you're going through something like that. It's terrible when the person that you're supposed to trust hurts you and harms you. At the same time, if you do not like men anymore, that's also very valid and it's okay. Does your app do a diagnosis online, or do I have to go somewhere to get a diagnosis? Asking for future and talking about Friendly Couch. Edit. If I'm chosen, can you please blur my name? I would like to stay anonymous. For those of you who don't know, the Friendly Couch is my mental health startup, and we offer therapy sessions and diagnosis as well. And yes, we offer all of this online. So you can be anywhere in the world and avail the services. In fact, a lot of our clients are Indians based abroad and also people all over India. You can go to thefriendlycouch.com in case you're interested in knowing more. P.S. You should go to the website even if you don't want to know more, because I spent a lot of time on the website and it's very cute. Why don't you care when some men call you the R word and give you death threats? I don't care, probably because I have a very strong supportive network. My family and my in laws and my husband all support me and they think what I think. So, why would I get scared of random men on the internet? And also, I'm tired of being scared. Women are scared 24/7. We're literally scared when delivery executives come to our house to deliver things. We don't even feel safe in the house. And I think the internet is a place that should feel safe for all women, for all people. So when I show people that I'm not scared of these men, I'm trying to set an example for other women that you can be strong and you can be brave, and these men are useless, they're not going to do anything. I mean, it's proof, right? I am here, I'm strong, I'm fine, nothing has happened to me even after everything I've done, said, and been through on the internet. My point is, women are going to be scared no matter what. We're scared to walk on the road, we're scared to travel in public transport. There's always a danger to our life. So might as well just not be scared, because you can't really control anything. I also don't care because I find them really funny and I don't find them scary. You should know that in a power struggle where there is one person who is an oppressor and the other person who is a victim, The oppressor has to agree that they're an oppressor, but the victim also has to agree that they are an oppressor. If the victim stops seeing the oppressor as an oppressor and starts seeing them as a stupid person, then they are no longer powerful because they're using their power to scare you. But if you don't accept their power as power and see it as stupidity, then what are they going to do? Of course, it's easier for me to say this because I have the support system. In case you don't, please don't follow my advice blindly. Who cooks and cleans in your home? Kindly give a detailed answer. We have hired a person for cooking and a person for cleaning. That said, of course, we still do some things in the house. For example, the cook makes the food and keeps it in the kitchen, and then when we have to eat, it has to be re-warmed up and someone has to lay the table. My husband warms up the food and I put the plates on the table. Apart from that, I make coffee in the morning for us and he makes tea in the evening for us. We both plan the meals together and order the groceries together. There are, of course, some days when the cook doesn't turn up. On those days, we order the food, or if we don't feel like eating from outside, my husband chops and keeps all the ingredients ready, and I do the cooking, and he cleans the kitchen once everything is done. I don't like chopping and cleaning, and he doesn't like the cooking part. So we each do what we like. When we're hungry for a snack, either I will make something or he will make something. He knows how to make full meals, and so do I. And when it comes to cleaning, there haven't really been many days where the cleaning lady didn't come for a very long time or something. Once she didn't come for 2 weeks. My husband washed the clothes in the washing machine and dried them, and I folded them and put them in the respective cupboards. I hope that answer was detailed enough for you because that was a lot of details about my personal daily routine. Why did you decide to be a therapist? The reason is a really personal one, like it mostly is. People don't really do psychology for no personal reason because it is a very personal subject. I've seen a lot of people having disorders in their life, in my family, and also parents and families of my friends. I saw some of them get the help that they needed, and some people didn't get the help. And I could see how much difference it made getting professional help versus not getting professional help, and it was a huge difference. So I just want to be able to help people live a better quality of life because I know what a big difference it makes, and you can only do that if you study psychology professionally. And of course, I have always been the kind of person who likes to listen to people and also notice things in the society, so that way I feel like this career really aligns with my personality. Where did you get your necklace? It looks gorgeous. Thank you. I don't know which necklace you're referring to, but all my necklaces are from shoptickle.com, which is also my brand. Next is a question that a lot of people asked me. How do you deal with the hate comments and rumors? Honestly speaking, they have never really bothered me. I don't really care what random people have to say about me, mostly because I can see the positive impact of my work on the people that I'm making the videos for. At the same time, I'm only human and I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't bother me. So, after the Proud Rundy controversy that happened, I definitely got affected, but I didn't get affected by the hate comments per se. I got affected by the fact that so many people misunderstood me. The problem with being an influencer or a public figure is that people take you out of context. Like my video, they just watched random videos that other people had made on me, and instead of watching my YouTube video where I've explained everything, they decided to believe what other people had to say. So that way it affects me because it's very frustrating to be a public figure because you can't give explanations, because also because you start giving explanations you'll start sounding like you're guilty or that you don't believe what you're saying. So it's a very tricky situation to be in, and you have to stay quiet and can't sit and give explanations to everything, and that frustrates me because how can people go around making random rumors about me, things that are not true, and I can't explain myself? Like, it's so difficult to do, but now I've learned not to do that. Like, it's really hard to stay quiet when people are just saying a million random things about you. And I tried to lay off my phone a little. I did other things that made me feel good because the internet is just a part of my life. It's not my whole life. And I kept reminding myself that. And now I'm over it. I don't care anymore. Again, just like I didn't before. So I just had to give it time, I guess. And if this happens to me again, I will probably get affected because I'm a human being. But I also know that it's a temporary thing. Another thing I do is keep a Sparkle folder in my phone, which is like a WhatsApp group of myself with myself, where I put all the comments and DMs that I get from people who like me, who love me, who understand what I'm saying, who I have helped. I'm going to put some of the screenshots here. Just look at them. They're so sweet and kind. How can you think that the whole world hates you when people send you such kind messages? So, yeah, you get hate comments, you get criticism, but you also get positive comments and love. It's important to see all of it, not just the hate and not just the positive comments. You can probably apply this to your real life as well. How do you manage content creation, your jewelry business, and your own therapy organization? I have to say that in the beginning, when I first started doing three of these things, it was really overwhelming and I was really excited and I loved working. And then I got burnt out. One thing that I learned was to delegate your work. That's when my husband joined me because I got so burnt out doing everything alone. And also, my jewelry business, I run it with my parents. I think I'm able to do all of this only because my entire family supports me. And yeah, sometimes I do get stressed and overworked, but I really love all of the things that I do. So it doesn't really impact me negatively anymore because I know how to manage and juggle everything, like have a lot of time to relax as well. I take a lot of vacations for this reason because my work is at home, like my house is my office. There is technically no break. So yeah, delegating really helped. I started hiring therapists because in the beginning it was just me taking sessions with clients, and that got too much because making content, seeing a lot of therapy clients, and also making content for the jewelry business and managing that as well, that can get to you. But it's been like 6 years since I started working, so I know how to manage it now. I think taking breaks is really important, and do not let yourself feel guilty for it because taking a break is as important as working. I travel a lot and really enjoy that. Every few months, I go somewhere. That's a privilege that I'm able to afford. Most people can't do that, obviously, but you can take your breaks in your own way. Whatever makes you happy and makes you stop thinking about work. How many months have you been pregnant? I'm going to try and be nice and not be rude, but it's not okay to ask people this question. It's not okay to ask women questions about their bodies. Just like you don't ask them how the consistency, flow, color, and frequency of their periods is, and you think that's an intimate thing, you don't ask them about their pregnancy either unless they have literally told you that they are pregnant on their own. I don't know why people are so obsessed with women getting pregnant. It is extremely rude, intrusive, and objectifying because I'm a person, not a birth giving machine. So stop asking everyone this question. Like, if you want to be a nice person, don't ask anyone this question. And I'm sorry if I'm being rude, but asking someone when they will have unprotected sex is a really creepy question to ask, and that's literally what you're asking me. And no, I'm not going to tell you these are the kind of things that irritate me. And let's move on before I stop making this video. How is your relation with your in-laws? A lot of people kept asking me how was my in-laws reaction when I told them that I don't want to live with them, but I don't know why people are assuming that I told my in laws that I don't want to live with them. The reality is that my in laws are the ones who brought this up during the conversation when we told them that we want to get married. It's pretty normal in my husband's family for children to move out when they're married and not live with the in laws, regardless of whether they're a boy or a girl. So, to answer your question, I have a good relationship with them. We meet them once a week or once in 2 weeks, and it's the same with my parents. We meet them also once a week or once in 2 weeks, depending on how busy we are and how busy they are. We go for vacations with my family and also go for vacations with his family. I know it sounds hard to believe and unrealistic, but I guess I lucked out. Actually, no, I will not say that I lucked out. I just refuse to settle for nonsense. And I would recommend every girl to do that. It's better to be alone than to be stuck in a bad relationship. Is feminism simply means for a boy to perceive girls the same way he perceived girls when he was a kid, before reaching adolescence, before social segregation between two genders, when a boy views a girl, a friend, very much similar to his friends who are boy? Yeah, that is actually an amazing explanation. That is literally what feminism is. For people to see girls as people and not boys and girls. It's actually that simple. Nobody has to become a feminist. Feminism is the natural way to go about it. It's misogyny that is unnatural. Which is why there is so much misogyny propaganda, and that's how people learn to be misogynistic. Movies, upbringing, textbooks, religion, all of these things are used as tools to teach misogyny because it's the most unnatural way to be. Did your parents support you at first for being a therapist? If no, how did you end up convincing them? My parents did support me in the beginning. Like, I don't remember there being any disagreement or argument about it. But yeah, I do remember showing them people who we know are therapists. And thankfully, I did know a couple of people like that. And they were successful, so my parents were like, okay. I think that's a great way to convince your parents. Like, in case they're a little unsure, show them how successful a person can be in that field if you have any examples. How much time has it been since I've been a Swiftie? I don't even remember when I started listening to Taylor Swift. I know that when Love Story came out, I didn't really like it that much. Like, it was okay. But then I heard White Horse and I was like, oh my god, I love this song. And I think it came out in 2008, so I have been a Swiftie since 2008. And I keep rediscovering songs by Taylor Swift that I haven't heard before or haven't paid attention to, and somehow it applies to my life. I don't even have to relate to her lyrics. Like, for example, right now I'm obsessed with Cowboy Like Me, and I don't relate to the lyrics because the song is actually about two con people who fell in love, and I'm not a con person, but I just love that song right now. So, yeah. I can talk about Taylor Swift and her lyrics the whole day. Okay, story time. I really wanted to get the Eras Tour tickets and I tried to get them for the Singapore show. I just didn't get them and I was so sad, but I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I guess it's just not meant to be. I have been wanting to go to a Taylor Swift concert all my life, okay? Probably since 2008. And I never thought it would be possible because I live in India and I don't think she's coming to India. She still hasn't come to India. But after a few months, one of my followers literally messaged me and said that he had an extra ticket, had two extra tickets for the Hamburg show. And if I wanted to buy them, I could buy them at the original rate of the ticket. And that's how I got the tickets. It was almost like it was meant to be for me to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I don't even believe in things like fate. But this was karma. Karma is the breeze in my hair on a weekend, and it's also being able to get a Taylor Swift ticket even after not getting it. Let me know if any Swifties follow me on YouTube because I know a lot of them follow me on Instagram. There were some YouTubers that said that your relationship with your family is not very okay. Is it true? No, and also I've never heard this rumor. This is a new rumor. My relationship with my parents is amazing. I love them, they love me. And like I said, I meet them very often and I talk to them every day or at least every alternate day in case I'm ill or busy. In fact, we talk so much that I literally have to write day and day on our WhatsApp group so that they don't call me while I'm shooting a video. Also, this rumor does not make any sense because how can I have a family business with them, which is shoptickle.com, if my relationship with them is not good? These rumors do not make any sense anymore. At least make them believable. I am starting to regret doing this different angles for this video thing because I'm running out of angles now. But next question. Are you religious? Like, do you follow any religion? If yes, which one? Do you think any religion holds women back? I am not religious, nor do I follow any rituals. And yeah, a lot of religious rituals are extremely sexist and seem to only need to be followed by women, which is very weird and suspicious. But I'm fine with people being religious. You can do what you want. I am not going to stop you from being religious or judge you for being religious. I think religion can be used for two reasons. One is as a tool of political and social oppression, and also as a way to deal with difficult things. So, when you use religion to deal with difficult things in an emotional kind of way, I think it's okay and I think it's good. But if you're using religion to oppress people and saying that my religion says that XYZ people are bad, then that's the religion that I don't agree with. I know I'm going to get hate for this answer, but that is the truth for me as a person. This is my opinion. Don't mind and don't get offended. You can follow whatever you want. At the same time, the way you follow religion actually impacts everyone around you. So you should be careful. That's all. Now, there are 5 questions that I'm going to answer quickly. What made you such a strong feminist? Honestly, I have always been a feminist, but I became a stronger feminist when I started making content because I had to deal with real misogyny after that. All this while, I have been sheltered in my life, and I've been around people who are more or less kind of feminist, like they don't go out of their way to subjugate women. But genuinely becoming a public figure, it shows you how much people hate women. Not just men, women also hate women. I think the kind of reaction I get to my feminist content, it just made me stronger and stronger, video by video, backlash by backlash. I would never be such a strong feminist if I didn't struggle because of it, and I only started struggling because I started making videos. Are you a vegetarian or non vegetarian? I'm a non vegetarian. Do you watch anime? If so, then which one is your favorite anime? I don't watch anime now, but I used to watch anime when I was a kid. There used to be this channel called Animax, and I used to watch anime. I don't know if you people will know about it, but I think they're old animes. Animes, is that a correct plural form of anime. I used to watch Card Captor Sakura. I used to watch Ranma Half. I used to watch something Academy also. I don't remember the names now, but I used to be obsessed with anime when I was younger. In case you have any suggestions, I would love to try anime again, and also let me know where I can watch it. What is the best country in the world according to you in terms of gender equality and egalitarian values for both men and women? I don't think that there is like a best country because like misogyny is everywhere, but of course some countries are better than other countries. In fact, yesterday I saw a reel about number of women, like percentage of women in the parliament of different countries, and I found that Scotland had 40 something percent and India had 14% or something, which is horrible. So I think a country where there are more than 40% women in the parliament would be a slightly better place to live in. At the same time, just being in the parliament is not enough. The values and the rules that they follow also matters. I think Scandinavian countries are pretty decent. They're better than other countries for women. What do you think about the future of gender equality in India? Is the country regressing or progressing in terms of freedom, equal opportunity, safety of women and girls in India? Now, this is a very complex answer. I think it's definitely getting a little better, but it's getting better at different levels according to different social groups. So, not even just social groups, it's different for every family. So, every generation, people are getting more feminist, but my level of feminism may not be the same as another girl's level of feminism, but it will always be on the up. I don't think that people are getting worse. I can see that women are getting better and getting more equal and more independent. At the same time, the level of feminism is not equal. And I think that's the problem. That's why we are not able to unite, because India is such a diverse country and everyone has different rules and norms that they follow in their families. We don't all follow the same thing. One more example, which I'm not sure is valid or not, I have noticed that maybe 6 years ago, the kind of content that used to be out there on Instagram has changed a lot. I see so much more feminist content and feminist discussion on the internet. And I think that shows you that the conversations are increasing. So, conversation is how change happens, right? I think the internet is really helping with this because people are able to now talk about their experiences, especially women. Women are able to talk about their experiences without that many obstacles. Villages, women in cities, all types of women are sharing their experiences, something that they couldn't do otherwise. And other women are able to see that and feel more validated that wait, what I'm going through is not my own problem, it's a systemic problem. Even though the change is slow, it is definitely happening. The change is going to be different for different levels of the society, so it may not seem like things are getting better, but I personally think that they are. I have noticed that. I don't know, what do you think? And now for the most asked question, where did you find Papa Goat? My husband, Amod. I'm not going to tell you exactly how we found each other, but I'm just going to say that we met on WhatsApp, and that's all I'm going to tell you. I think it's less about where I found a feminist man and more about how I didn't settle for a non feminist man. I think women have been told that we have to get married. There's nothing worse than being alone as a woman, but that's literally not true. You know what is worse than being alone as a woman? Being with a misogynist. Trust me, that is worse than being alone as a woman. So, in case you want to find a feminist man, just don't settle for stupid men. Increase your self esteem. You are worthy of a man who treats you like an equal. And does he support me in every decision I make? Yes. Actually, he doesn't need to support me per se, because that would mean that he is going out of his way to support me and he doesn't actually agree with me or something. But most of the opinions that I have, he also has the same opinions. It could be that we both have shaped each other because we've been together for more than 10 years now, and that's why our opinions have kind of become similar. But yeah, you might not find a feminist man, but a quality that you should look out for in your partner is open mindedness. So he might be sexist, but he has to be open to your opinions. And people who are sexist are usually not open to the opinions of women, and that's how you know that man is not for you. We need to stop being partners to sexist men. And if that means that we're going to be alone, that's okay. Only when you think that will you actually find a man who truly loves you and supports you and respects you. So yeah, that's all for today. I hope you liked my video and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Goodbye.